Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan as well as Quality Business Consultant. And what I'd like to do today is to introduce you all to my beginner's guide to financial analysis for AT&T 2021. So the way the video is going to play out is first and foremost going to go ahead and give you all a little bit of background about me, who I am, what I do, and why I do it. And then after that, we'll walk through the three categories or sections of my AT&T 2021 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis, show you the writing style, the quantity of information, and the structure of the Beginner's Guide. And at the end of the video, if you're interested in purchasing the Beginner's Guide, I also provide you all with the link to do so, which is also right here. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and zip through this little PowerPoint presentation. So as promised, a little bit about me. Again, Paul Borosky, MBA doctoral candidate, as well as the author to AT&T Beginner's Guide 2021. I have been publishing Beginner's Guides as well as financial reports for the last 5 years. And I do so for probably about 15 to 25 public companies on an annual basis. If you're interested in looking to add some more of my public reports, just visit this link here. And then also, I am the beginner's guide. I'm the author of the Beginner's Guide to Understanding Financial Statements and Financial Ratios. If you're interested in that book, check it out on Amazon.com. And then finally, I am an adjunct professor and subject matter expert in finance. So I do have some education as well as some real-world higher education teaching experience backing up my thoughts and ideas. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about the start of the show, which is AT&T 2021 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis. The way this book or this report is broken out is I have the first section is the income statement summary section. The second section is the balance sheet summary section and an explanation. And then the third section is the financial ratios, where I break down the different ratios into categories and then individually, as well as show calculations and the results for the ratios. All right, let's go ahead and zip through this and let me introduce you in detail to each one of the sections. So the first section, like I said, is AT&T's summarized income statement. What I do is I go out and I research the 10Ks for AT&T for the last 5 years. I summarize their revenues and their costs and their net profits, and I provide you all with my findings in the beginning of this section. The next thing that I do is I go ahead and identify important line items, for example, revenues. I'll go ahead and define revenues, that important line item. We'll give you a definition for it. I'll give you the definition in layman's terms, and then I'll provide you all with some analysis tips as to what to look for when analyzing that line item. The next section is the AT&T summarized balance sheet. So that's the balance sheet section. So again, research 10Ks for AT&T. Then I went ahead and summarized that information and I put it into my financial model. And here are the end results. So I do that for the last 5 years. Next, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll identify important line items in the balance sheet. For example, cash. I'll break out that line item. I'll define what that line item is. For example, cash. I'll give you an explanation of what it is. I'll give you that explanation in layman's terms. And then I'll give you some tips to utilize when analyzing that line item. The third section is AT&T's financial ratios. So I do categorize the financial ratios into 4 categories: liquidity, asset, profitability, and debt ratios. The next thing that I do is for each one of the categories, I'll provide you all with an example of the ratios that I calculated. For example, the liquidity for AT&T, current ratio, cash ratio, quick ratio, net working capital ratio. I'll give you the formulas that I use to calculate each one of the ratios, and then I'll give you a summary of the findings for AT&T for the current ratio, cash, and so on. I then also go into a little bit more details. For each one of the important ratios, I'll define the ratio. I'll give you a definition of the ratio. I'll provide you all again with the formula for the ratio. I'll give you all the definition in layman's terms of what that ratio actually means. And then I'll provide you all with some tips to use when analyzing that ratio. And then finally, I'll give you the actual calculations for the ratios for the last 5 years. An example is current ratio is current assets divided by current liabilities. Well, here's your current assets for the last 5 years, current liabilities for the last 5, and then the current ratio for the last 5 years. All right, hopefully this information was helpful. If you are interested in buying my AT&T 2021 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis, the link is right here. It's a PDF, downloadable. All right, hopefully this information is helpful. Have a great day. Thank you.